Right guys, another episode of Follow the Build. We've got the render here of the 941, which you saw last week. As you can see, the boat's taking shape. We've got the U-berth upholstery going in now. Jump in the boat and James is going to give you an update of how we're getting on.
Right, thanks Ross. So I'm in the bow of the 941 here. I really love watching how these boats come together because they just start looking so cool. You can see we've dry fitted the bow upholstery here at the moment. Really gorgeous. This is called Diamante Lava. It's got like a carbon pipe. You see real nice little touch how we heat emboss the ribeye logo into the upholstery there, and diamonds stitch the upholstery. Really cool feature with the front of this upholstery, as I spoke about, is that you can, we don't do it so that you have to mess around and remove upholstery or open the lockers this way to limit access. Literally on gas rams, the whole thing just comes up like a super lovely action, giving you massive, really easy access to these really big lockers, really deep rain channels and stuff. So, your stuff stays dry in there. You can see the sort of the bow speaker system going in there as well, which is really cool. Another really good feature with the bow upholstery is because of obviously sort of bow boarding and getting out. Firstly, you just flip that back, and you can see another step there all lined up with the Flexi-Teak anchor locker. Because that's going to be a surface that we walk on, everything's there is flush fit. So the skin is all flush down. We've got this really cool little kind of notch there, so you can run your lines in there and just keep everything like really neat. We do a lot of boating, so we really understand, how things work and what's really going to work, particularly when boating in the UK.
So our fitter Dan's now, attached these to the GRP, so you can see there's a proper sort of overhang there, which gives you a bit more sort of space for your feet as you move around to the forward X there. But also you can just see it just looks good. It looks really cool. And where James has stood here, as you can see, it's like a U-berth seating area. But before we show you this underdeck hatch, you'll see there's like a lip along there. So this all turns into a huge sunbathing area. And there is an option on 941s and 821s to kind of recreate like a U-berth at the back of the boat, which again makes a large sunbed. But you can see if you put the sunbed cushions in, which can easily be stored in these weatherproof lockers, just gives you lots of options when you're at anchor.
Exactly, and that's over 6 foot long, isn't it? So obviously we sized that, and you can see how that locker all comes up. Everything on stainless steel rams, just really easy to use. Just really nice sort of fluid motions on how things work. See some of the kind of the wirings going in there as well. One of the really big things the fit out teams really pride themselves on is just how neat and robust our wiring is. As we follow this build through, you'll see when it's finished, it really does look like a work of art. So it's really cool.
The key thing with this boat is going to be used out of Salcombe. So the family have said to me they're going to want to do lots of coastal cruising, maybe cross channel as well. So with all this our dynamic console moulding, we do have some smaller console options. We've got the ergo console there, folding consoles. We've got the elite console on this boat. This is our largest console. So with the large wind deflector, you can do 40 knots, 50 knots, and when you're sat on whatever the helm seat is you've specified, you really do feel properly encapsulated. So that completely eliminates that sort of kind of wind whistling noise that you get in your ears in more of a sort of open boat or a console without a windscreen. And also just the beam of the console, it gives you space inside the console if you were to spec a boat with a sea toilet or something like that. But for me, I just like being enclosed. You feel like you're in a bigger boat really when you're doing the higher speeds.
I think that, just talking about that protection, I think that's really important on the long journeys, isn't it? Because you mentioned coming out of Salcombe, and it's such a lovely run over to the Channel Islands. We've done it in about 2.5 hours. In a boat like this, absolutely no problems. And you can basically go over there for lunch, which is just an amazing thing to do. Yeah, but because of the size of the console and how the wind deflector and then the protection you get from the T-top, you're just here like protected and just really going for it, and it's a phenomenal thing. And
it means you can have a conversation.
Oh, totally.
That's the key thing.
We're literally, you're going at like 45, 50 knots, just like chatting. It's phenomenal. And I think talking about that, and as we've always said, everything on these boats, where we use them, we just really design it to actually work, but be really robust and just try and do absolutely everything properly. Is this T-top, the way we structure our T-tops, one of the things that we don't really like about T-tops is when you're going along and you're going at full chat and you're getting all that vibration and all that wind noise. So we spent a lot of time developing, firstly, the curvature at the top, so it introduces into the wind correctly to do that, but also the finish of the T-top. Every single weld out, polished out. This one's actually been powder coated black. You can see the LoPo light up there, which is really cool. But I think that it's sort of the testament to it is just how strong this thing is, so that when you're going along, it's just absolutely solid. You've got everything like rattling and vibrating and stuff. And I just, we build everything, bomb-proof, proper. And,
the cool thing about this T-top as well is how quiet it is. Because when we first started developing T-tops, it's really hard when you're actually going to build a T-top to a rib and go through some choppy sea and keep the noise down. This is, you can just about hear a slight whistling, but it really is quiet and it's not something you notice when you're underway.
So it's got a massive big nav on that, which is really cool. We've got the 16 Garmin. 16-inch. And as we touched on in the first episode on the Twin 250, now that Garmin have partnered with Yamaha, so effectively the Garmin are making the gauges, I just love how they match. It's like a mini version. So both will display your engine data. So you can have like a massive digital dash here. Or if you are doing that like longer cross-channel run that we spoke about, you've got your mapping on here and then just your important engine data going on there. So
cool thing on the top of the Dynamic as well is just having these flat usable surfaces, because say if you just want to kind of chuck your phone or your keys there, you've got these non-slip surfaces, good drainage at the side here. There will be some drainable cup holders fitted here with outlets underneath the dash. Glove box, and we touched upon this on the PRIME EIGHT21. This is the new Yamaha rigging. So again, like if I'm driving this boat fast, I love this feature. I'm going to hit the single lever, get that one out of the way. You use this throttle here because then you can use the trim with your thumb. But a cool thing about twin outboards for big ribs is the maneuverability. Actually, I always say have one arm tied behind your back and use a single arm as you make the adjustments. You can really sort of use both outboards to kind of pivot the boat a little bit more. However, Yamaha do have a feature called the Helm Master.
Yeah, they do.
Which is really cool.
I think we've looked at that before in a video as well, haven't we, which you can find. But yeah, effectively it's a joystick docking system that means that all of the steering system becomes full electric, and effectively the engines move and you can move the boat around on the spot. It can use the GPS tracking to kind of keep it in a location, turn the boat 360. So yeah, that's actually a really cool feature. If you're coming into the dock, you can knock the boat sideways. But this is really much like almost like driving a tank, so going one backwards, one forwards, you'll turn the boat on the spot and all that sort of stuff. So you get a load of maneuverability with twin motors, don't you? Not to mention incredible acceleration, because you're just pushing twice the amount of water. So off the line and the mid-range, and this boat is just remarkable. So
with those twins as well, James, when you go boating in quite big seas sometimes, if say you're going over the side of swell, so the boat might be leading to one side, certainly if you're planing, you might start jumping a little bit. With twins, you're offsetting the engines and you have a counter-rotating propeller. So you really do get the sort of the ultimate sort of balance. Whereas on a single outboard, you've got a singular propeller turning one way. So it really does kind of grip and glue you to the water in choppy sea.
Phenomenal, isn't it? It really is. So yeah, it's a really exciting build. So just a few more things. At the back, I spoke about it actually, I think in the first episode, but I think the key point is, we did a lot of development on this boat, because on an open boat, storage and space is always, of course, a challenge. That's why we really wanted to get great access, as I've shown you, in the bow area, loads of storage in there. But we took a decision as a business to engineer much more of a complicated molding structure, where this is all actually molded into the deck, so that when you go to lift up the rear locker, you're right down into the hull of the boat. And as I said in the first one, you can see some of the teaks going in there, all really nice and clean. You'll have a raised up teak floor, which follows the lines of the deck here, but with gaps down it. So effectively anything you chuck in there, it's not getting damp and stuff. And say you were to chuck a wetsuit in there or something, it would dry, and any water that would come off it would go down into the bilge and just get sent out. You can also see in there, proper through hole copper transducer going in there. You can see the rear bilge pump in there. And I think either side there, we can see the underwater lighting system, which is a lovely feature in it. Like when the sun's going down, particularly like in the Salcombes and all that sort of stuff, when you're just going out. It's really cool.
If you've got a boat and a friend with another rib just chasing you, you flick them on, it just makes the boat look absolutely insane.
So cool. So yeah, massive locker, huge space. Obviously, you can see the gas rams will hold it up. So like the front locker.
And you see that the ribeye seals, you know, the ribeye standard, we want to make all these lockers as weatherproof as possible. And just sort of big, extreme drainage, you know, to get the water away from the seats, down onto the deck, into the drainage system.
Triple scupper system there. You can see as well, you know, again, all stainless, all properly done. We flush fit these Signature Series speakers into here, which is a really nice feature. So when all the upholstery goes on, all of this is all covered over. And then what we do is we sort the foam out in the upholstery, so it's kind of low density in that area. And so it's just completely, you know, really clean lines, really seamless, but sounds amazing because you're literally, you know, you're sat right near the speaker. So yeah, these boats are, I mean, this one's looking incredible.
And I think just to kind of wrap up where this boat's going to be soon, you know, Dan's going to be fitting the U-berth sections at the back of the boat, which, as I say, can turn into like a sunbed as well. Table in the middle, it's a picnic area. There's the 4 Scott seats that we looked at last week, which we fitted fairly soon as well. Nice. Then it's just tubing, then getting this one on the water.
Yeah, I think next week as well, it's really exciting as well, because the Twin 250 setup that we spoke about, that's going to be ready to go out on the water next week. So we're actually going to do this sort of follow the build from the water next week and actually test that Twin 250 821. So that's going to be an incredible amount of fun.
First. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun.